Welcome to the DC Life Uncensored, presented by the Fight Shop New Mexico, international strategic partners that you can reach at callisp.com, and Damage Control Mouth Guards, the best mouth guards in the industry. So, we know the holidays just passed for Christmas, for Hanukkah, it's still going on. If you need that last minute gift, I still tell you that you can go to the Fight Shop New Mexico, a bunch of great stuff, or the perfect last minute gift, also head on over to Damage Control, the new location over by Manolan, Washington, here for those people locally, for those people online. Google it. Great store online. This week, it is the final week of 2016. We had one event that we're going to talk a little bit about, VFC 55, and then we're going to look forward to the year closing out with the UFC in Las Vegas, UFC 207 on Friday night. And then during the day, yes, during the day, if you are here in the Mountain Time Zone, if you're on the East Coast, it's afternoon. WSOF at the theater at Madison Square Garden has that event Saturday. So we're going to be previewing those events. We also got two great guests dropping by. We're going to be talking to the Bellator Featherweight champion of the world, Danniel Straus of American Top Team. He gives us some of his free time during the holiday to drop by. Great friend of the show. And also we're going to catch up with, from the local scene, taking part in Sparta Combat Leauge 57, a JacksonWink Academy fighter. We have Henry Boom Boom Barahona joining us. He'll be taking on Justin Gonzalez at Sparta Combat Leauge 57, January 28th. In Denver, Colorado at Grizzly Rose. So we have a lot coming up for you guys today. Starting off with Victory Fighting Championship 55, where the co-main event saw Daniel Gallimore, Big Cass, defend his heavyweight title with a first-round TKO. It was challenger Derek Boheim who get the fight into the clinch and put the champions back against the cage in the early going. As they're in that clinch, getting into the box and clinch, both men with hands on the back of each other's heads. They're exchanging uppercuts, and it was Gallimore, the much more heavy-handed fighter, landing to the chin. Derek dropping Boheim, getting on top. A couple extra unneeded, but needed because the ref hadn't jumped in. Punches landed. Big Cass, 2-0 now in Victory Fighting Championship, winning the title, defending the title. Congratulations to him. See who Victory puts up next. The main event saw Dakota Cochran and Jake Lindsay in a rematch. They would get into the clinch. Also, like the heavyweights, Cochran landed an uppercut. Would transition then, because the uppercut hurt Lindsay, to a takedown into half guard. Lindsay would try to get onto his hip and stand up, and in that transition from his back to his hip to standing, he would get caught in a guillotine. Cochran would get that neck, not let go, jump in full guard, and get the submission. A 4-fight win streak now for Dakota Cochran, 3 in a row via the submission. Victory Fighting Championships, they always have some exciting stuff there on UFC Fight Pass. Now that's what did happen, and now we have a bunch of stuff to look forward to. As we're looking forward, though, we got to look at the news of the week. The news of the week that was really playing out last week, something that would stick in your mind, is the Cyborg saga continues. Started out with the ESPN special coming out, little documentary on SportsCenter, chronicling the trials and tribulations of Chris Cyborg and her last weight cut in her UFC Fight Night main event. Cyborg is obviously, it was a wrong decision on her part to ever sign a contract, even though it's playing hardball with the UFC, to go to 140 pounds. Going to 140 pounds and 3 weight cuts in 8 months has been very detrimental to her body. This is all in light of the announcement that at UFC 208, Germaine de Rotame and Holly Holm, 2 women that have never fought, really, at 145 pounds, will be fighting for the first UFC Women's Featherweight title in Brooklyn, February 11th. Why not Cyborg? Cyborg turned down a fight with each woman due to her body. Again, is too damaged and needs more time to recover from these successive weight cuts. Time waits for no one. UFC waits for no one. They made a new title fight. The saga continues as now Cyborg has been notified and the UFC has been notified that Cyborg has a potential violation with USADA. That's stemming from December 5th. So it has nothing to do with anything that happened with the fights. The victories are also cured from this year. They are what they were. So you won 3 fights, 3 first-round stoppages this year. Those cannot be taken away. This now, another random test. Again, the most tested UFC fighter there is, Chris Cyborg. 3 weeks ago, this violation, this test. What the substance is, I cannot pronounce any of this stuff. But from my understanding, it is something that is to help her, to help Cyborg recover from these weight cuts, to help her body recover. It is a substance that is flagged, that is not allowed by USADA. So you are in violation for taking it. But it is something, according to Cyborg, that's prescribed to her by her doctor. Her doctor that, again, Cyborg said was someone that was aware and had worked with USADA before. So you're telling me the doctor knew this was wrong, but never had you file for what would make it right? I mean, there is an exemption. You file an exemption. Now the camp is in the process of filing a retroactive exemption. It's a little funny that you file for a retroactive exemption once you get caught. You don't do it right after you take it. It's not like, hey, this medicine is life or death. You need it. We'll file for the exemption. 3 weeks now after you pop for it, now that you're notified, now we'll file for that exemption because we realize we're wrong. So your doctor didn't know enough about USADA for you to file for the exemption at any point. So Cyborg doesn't help herself. She's never helping herself. I mean, you already had that bad image from the first time against Naho Sugiyama, I believe, that you did in Strikeforce have a suspension. You did pop for narcotics. You do look like someone that would be on steroids, as people say, how big you are, how strong you are, the muscular physique. So you are that target, and you do nothing to protect or help yourself. That's just bad from you, from your team, the people that are around you, who is really looking out for your best interest, allowing stuff like that. If you needed this, and there is a way to get it, why not help before everyone's looking at you like you were trying to cheat, like you were trying to get something over? There is the point that possibly your body is not, obviously you can't make bantamweight. Let's get that out of the question. Obviously 140 was too extreme. Is featherweight too extreme though, possibly, if you can't make it now? Would it be lightweight, even though there's no possibility for any depth at that division? Would that really be what's best for her as an athlete, for her body? Doctors could probably tell you better than I could, but another unfortunate situation that Cyborg doesn't help herself. Another black eye to her in the status. You look at her as a person, you're just a little off-putted by the fact that she does not help herself in any of these columns. You were not aware enough to take the proper, measures to protect yourself in this situation. File for the exemption before you're being tested. Should there be less weight cutting? Yes, definitely. Was this a bad idea to ever have her try? Yes, but the UFC, as the conglomerate and the giant they are, they do force a fighter's hand, and the fighter has to fight back. That being said, hopefully come 2017, but who knows how this will play out, maybe 2018, we will see Cyborg, in quotations, her natural rightful weight class, which I'm still thinking is a drastic weight cut for her. But there is the featherweights now in the UFC, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see Cyborg fight in that division. But it's still the ongoing saga that just won't go away. The UFC is against me, that this is against me, that that's against me, and I hurt my body too much. Well, hopefully she doesn't sign any more ridiculous contracts, put herself in that kind of harm's way, and things can move forward. But it's not the dirty secret as that special, as that editorial, as that film that little segment try to show about Cyborg. It's not the dirty secret that's not known of. It is the very well-known biggest problem in MMA, weight cutting. The addition of more divisions is always a better thing. Fighters moving up, such as the wave I've seen of guys moving from 55 to 70 this year, from seeing Donald Cerrone, Jorge Masvidal, James Muntasiri. I think that this is a good move, allowing your body to not go through a weight cut, to not deplete it anymore. We've seen the great performances Tim Means, Donald Cerrone, and all these guys have had since moving up, and I think that's the way of the future. Fighting closer to your natural walk-around weight and fighting and using the energy that you would use in the weight cut to put into the fight. We still have, again, 2 events to close out the year. Let's look towards that. Friday night. Yes, Friday night. The UFC closes out the year finally. Year ending. A day before the year. UFC 207. That brand new T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, due to injuries, due to fights being taken away, due to Cain Velasquez not being medically fit. That was what he was declared by the Nevada Athletic Commission. Medically unfit to compete. Some fights have been juggled around. Your one and only, it was the headlining Fight Pass fight, but your one and only now Fight Pass fight, so you can tune in there here locally in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we're at 5:30 to see Fit NHB's Tim Means against Brazilian Cowboy Alex Oliveira. Oliveira going to be looking for that clinch. Means, the technical striker, going to be using his jab, looking for the hooks, looking to stuff that, make Oliveira pay, and if there is any clinching, look to hurt him with knees and elbows. An interesting fight. I may be a homer, but I look for Means, who's won his last 2 by knockout, to continue that win streak. One of those fights that's been moved up. Originally scheduled to be on the Fight Pass prelims, you're going to see opening up the card, knockout artist Brandon Thatch against Nico Price. Price is undefeated, making his Octagon debut. Coral Gables, Florida. Fight Time Promotions. 6 knockouts, an American top team guy. Someone's getting knocked out, and what will be an exciting fight to open that one. You've got Alex Garcia, who always has a ton of power, taking on veteran Mike Pyle. Mike Pyle always weathers a storm, is so methodical and calculating. You have also on there Carlos Jr., Antonio Carlos Jr., who was a Tough Brazil winner against Marvin Vittori, the Italian submission artist. I love this entire card. The feature fight of the FS1 prelims will be seeing Johnny Hendricks against Neil Magny. Magny, the big win streak, a solid all-around game. Big rig, a lot of power. Can he beat the weight cut? You are seeing articles out recently about how he has rededicated and refocused with the help of his wife. A man that was once the welterweight champion of the world. What has he done with this time off? He was not in a good place, not fighting well, not physically in shape, not well. If he's back to 100%, he's a great fighter. Neil Magny, mentally strong, none of those issues, always looking to improve. Even though he's coming off of a loss, the Elevation Fight Team product always looks to get better. Jiu-Jitsu, he's probably a better guy, but he's not the better wrestler in this matchup. He has the distant striking, a very interesting matchup that that really depends on the mental status of where Big Rig Johnny Hendricks comes in at. But I like Magny in this one because you have such a wild card with Hendricks, but one left hand, if he's in the right spot, could end the night. Originally supposed to be on the FS1 prelims, now kicking off the UFC pay-per-view card. We do have an interview with him. Caged Minds MMA show on YouTube. Check it out at cagedminds.com. If you need help finding it, you go to the YouTube page. Ray Borg, Luis Smolka, 2 flyweights. Who's going to be the better grappler? I believe it's going to be Borg. It will hit the mat because both guys love to scramble and wrestle, and it always hits the mat. But you got a very technical Hawaiian against a very technical Taz Mexican. It hits the ground. It's an interesting fight with a lot of scrambling. I like Borg to get the submission, but a little bit of a homer on that one. My bad. In the striking, though, Smolka does have the advantage from what we've seen. Also getting moved up from the FS1 prelims, a welterweight clash with the stun gun, Dong-Yun Kim against former Strikeforce welterweight champion Tarek Safadine. Can Safadine, who does have a very good wrestling defense, handle Kim in the clinch, who did have the year of his life in 2015? slowed down this year, showed off dramatic striking improvements. Safadine, vicious murderous leg kicks, a very interesting fight. John Lineker is heavy-handed and looks to knock you out with every punch. It's on the main card. Him versus TJ Dillashaw. Dillashaw, a lot more jiu-jitsu, a lot more footwork. He doesn't load up. I like those guys. It bit me in the butt when I picked John Dodson over Lineker for the same reasons, but I still got to go with Dillashaw because footwork and defense should matter when a guy is missing so wildly. Taking TJ Dillashaw, and the UFC is not committed to it, but this really should be a bantamweight #1 contender fight because the co-main event has Dillashaw, has the guy that Dillashaw wants, Dominic Cruz, defending his title against Cody Garbrandt. Can Garbrandt score the knockout, or will Cruz be able to use his footwork and win the knockout? Both guys have great points. Garbrandt has said, Cruz, your knees are gone. You have no footwork anymore. You're a lot more plodding. But he picked apart his mentor, Garbrandt's mentor, Uriah Faber, the leader of Team Alpha Male. He was a sitting duck and got pieced up, ending that rivalry, completely obliterating it, what Dominic Cruz did to Uriah Faber. A lot of emotion coming out of the Garbrandt camp, wanting to avenge that, wanting to get that win for the whole team to defeat Cruz. Garbrandt has that natural knockout power. He does have the ability to win this fight by knockout, but does he have the experience? Can he do what a young John Jones did? Overcome that experience when John Jones took out Shogun. Can Garbrandt do that to take out Cruz? Which I would set up the former teammates, I believe, a Dillashaw-Garbrandt matchup. Can't wait for that one because I believe that's where we're going if there's a victory for Garbrandt. But I gotta believe that Cruz pulls this one out. Too much wisdom, too many tricks. Amanda Nunes, Ronda Rousey is the main event. What we've been looking forward to for quite a while, the return of Ronda Rousey in one of the strangest weeks for the UFC ever, where this week there's no media. These two main eventers are not being out there, are not publicizing the fight because, well, for one, the UFC has not really put Amanda Nunes out there. All the promos have been Rousey-centric, Rousey-focused, and this is all about the rowdy return of the WME star, who they want to have the title, who they want to be the superstar, who they want to make a lot of money off of outside of Conor McGregor. They saw the failure of Paige Van Zandt, the failures of Sage Northcutt, the other people that they've really wanted to press and put forward. So a lot riding on this for Ronda Rousey, and the underdog, Amanda Nunes, getting no love, getting no support, affection. An entertaining fight here, though. An intriguing fight to break down. Amanda Nunes is the more heavy-handed striker. Just if you look at it, we know that both women have one good round. You don't know what Rousey's been working on this whole year. You don't know where her mind is heading into this fight. You don't know how she has improved. You don't know how Nunes' game has changed since the broken hand that she suffered in winning the title. The right hand, her power hand. How has that healed? How has that changed her game? Where is she at mentally? How has she evolved? We know that neither one of these women is really built to go 5 rounds, as most of their wins come in the first round. Nunes will still have her power, and Rousey will still have that armbar. Nunes, technically, with the black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you'd think that would be able to nullify the Rousey ground game. But we've seen time and time again against, a Kat Zingano, that Jiu-Jitsu experience in a transition, Rousey's armbar was still able to catch her opponent. A very interesting fight here. If it gets into the clinch, we've seen Rousey dump bigger featherweights before, even though Nunes is, I'd say, a larger bantamweight. Interesting fight here. If it goes into a second round, you'd expect a much slower pace unless they both drastically kicked up the cardio. The better striking is in Nunes' corner. The better submission grappling functionally for MMA, I believe, is for Rousey. But when you add in that striking, we've seen Nunes pick it up. Not to mention, even though it was kind of a boring, lackluster fight, Valentina Shevchenko, who is going to be taking on Juliana Pena here in January, what she did, Nunes, against Shevchenko in neutralizing her to win a decision was something remarkable, and how you look at Shevchenko has evolved in what she was able to do in really piecing up, even though she was injured, Holly Holm, and what she did to nullify her timing and take it away. So we've seen Nunes go 3 rounds with a strong striker, even though it wasn't the most beautiful visual that we've ever seen. Can the champions defend? It's an interesting weekend to look forward to. UFC 207, Friday night. I'm excited. And then even the next day, don't stay up too late. Don't party too hard Friday night, because you know you have Saturday to go. Because before you go out and party for the new year, for the big party, you can still watch World Series of Fighting coming on during the day. WSOF 34, where there are 4 titles on the line. You start off online, actually, for their prelim card, where you see the debut of former Titan champion Andre the Bull Harrison, 14-0, taking on Bryce Boynton, 14-0, a incredible wrestler. Andre the Bull Harrison making that WSOF debut in his native New York, ever-evolving striking. That's a fun one starting off the card. At middleweight, you have Bruno Santos taking on Vagaabev. At middleweight, Vagaabev is 20-0, and I look forward to seeing his debut against the Santos, who, even though he's only 14-2, with those 2 losses coming in the UFC, he didn't seem comfortable. His striking and his grappling couldn't come together. I don't know if he's putting it together on American soil the way he did at home in Brazil. Also on those prelims, you will see Smelino Rama, who did train down here at the JacksonWink team, a now spelt fighter. Used to be up there in the 220s, 230s, has dropped down to lightweight, 205, taking on Jay Kuhn. I believe a big fight is in the future for the winner of this one. Rama, look out for his striking, as Hume will be trying to take this one to the ground. Now, if you take it from the online, you move over to the NBC Sports Network, where they're having a 3-fight prelim card. A Who's the Toughest catchweight fight with Shane Critchin versus Jeremy Manhone. A heavyweight bout where you see UFC vet Jared Roshaw looking to get his wrestling on, and most likely will do it against Brazilian Kyle Ankara, who's going to be looking for the submission. And capping off by actually the first of the 4 world title fights, where 2-weight class world champion David Branch puts on his middleweight title on the line against 1 loss Lewis Taylor, who has 13 victories, won 6 of his last 7, has the majority of his victories by stoppage, 13 victories with 11 stoppages, I believe, and most of them 6, 7, 8 coming by way of submission. But you cannot forget that David Branch, even though he did display a beautiful jab in defending his light heavyweight title, is a natural grappler, and that was what his pedigree was coming into mixed martial arts. Then you go up to the main card, where we're going to start off with a special feature fight in the welterweight division. UFC vets Paul the Gentleman Bradley, knockout power, good wrestling, against knockout power and excellent judo, Yushin Thunder Okami. Excellent, entertaining fight there that depends where it plays out. At range, does the size and reach of Okami, is that just too overwhelming for Bradley to get inside? Bradley's going to have to look fast and explosive. I don't know if he can rely on his takedown against such a big guy who does train with the likes of Chow Sutton and dudes up there in Oregon. We go back to the title belts. Marlon Moraes takes on Josenaldo Silva. The bantamweight title's on the line. Josenaldo, the challenger, has won 17 fights in a row, but will his striking be able to keep up with one of the cleanest, fastest strikers outside of the UFC? Marlon Moraes, a straight killer on the feet, a Brazilian Frankie Edgar who trains up there in New Jersey with Edgar, so kind of stealing that comparison easily. I'm looking for Moraes to continue his reign, to put on his display. This is a fight where WSOF is looking out in the world to find a suitable challenger. It is a big step up in competition for Silva. Seymour Reyes put on a show. The co-main event is going to see John Finch defending his WSOF welterweight title against Jake Shields. Shields coming off of the loss to a very disrespectful Husamar Poharis. A grappler's delight here in this co-main event. They are both UFC, MMA veterans and MMA legends known for their grinding and grappling abilities. Shields, a little more traditionally known as a submission artist and a BJJ guy, his American Jiu-Jitsu, as he likes to put it, against John Finch, who, even in showing off more striking since leaving the UFC and going to WSOF, has really been a decision machine. A welterweight fight, years in the making. The hardcore fans Saturday afternoon will be highly entertained and tuning in droves to see this matchup, where I give Shields the advantage, being the bigger guy and just having the more championship experience and pedigree. I don't love the wins that John Finch has had since going to WSOF from the UFC. I think he's taken a step down in competition, as where Shields has fought the harder fights and beat the better guys. Our main event, can anyone stop Justin Gaethje, the Colorado knockout artist, 16-0 right now. In the main event, going to be defending his lightweight title against Luis Firmino. Firmino, we know, nasty with his submissions, replacing a injured Yao Zeffirino. Firmino, he's won, I believe, 6 of his last 7, and has done so with a plethora of different submissions. The Blackzilian fighter will be looking to get it to the ground. That's going to be very hard to do against the sprawl and brawl of Gaethje, and you have always got to look out for those leg kicks. I believe 17-0 is very possible, but anything can happen, as it looked like Brian Foster was having his way with Firmino before also getting caught up in a triangle and getting submitted. A very interesting weekend of fights to close out 2016, and then next week, as we're waiting for these fights to play out, 6 world title fights, we will have our Fighters of the Year, our Fight of the Year, Knockout of the Year, and everything awards that we can give you for CagedMinds.com next week on the DC Life Uncensored. Now that we've previewed what the weekend has ahead of us and a heck of a lot of title fights, and let's be honest, let's go Amanda Nunes, just because you got to get behind her and support her for the way the UFC has promoted this fight, Ronda. The DC Life Uncensored, now that I am done ranting, we'll be back after a quick break. When we get back, we're going to start our interviews. We'll have Danniel Straus and Henry Barahona when the DC Life Uncensored returns. ISP, that's International Strategic Partners. When you think protection in New Mexico, you should think ISP, not your everyday security company, offering background checks, self-defense courses, handgun, firearm licensing, and a plethora of security patrol and investigation options. Call us at 505-255-6063. That's 505-255-6063, or online at callisp.com.
The Fight Shop New Mexico in the Montano Plaza Shopping Center, located off Coors and Montano.
We're a dental laboratory that specializes in protective mouth guards for all sports. With the input and collaboration of professional athletes, dentists, and chemical engineers, Damage Control offers protection that is up to 417% greater than the competition, and a great fit that will make you forget you're even wearing a mouth guard. UFC champions, professional bull riding champions, and Mr. Olympian champions. These are athletes that depend on us for the ultimate protection. It's the most comfortable, most protective, and best fitting mouth guard. Breathe better, feel better, play better with the Damage Control mouth guard.
Welcome back to the DC Life Uncensored. Right now we're going to be joined by Bellator Featherweight Champion Danniel Straus. Danniel, thank you for the time. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing well. Having a crazy holiday season like everybody else. How are you feeling? It's been probably a frustrating 2016. Let's start there. How have you been this year, having You're the champion, but you've had to be sidelined with injury all year. What's your 2016 been like?
You know what? I've had some ups and downs. I've had some. It started off great. I knew I was going to be out for a little bit, but I had the first hand surgery right after the fight in November of 15. So I thought at the beginning of the year was going fine. I was just relaxing and getting back in the gym, and then it didn't hit. I had to go back to the drawing board, and things kind of went downhill from there. I had to get another hand surgery. I was getting a little bit of the depression part of, not being able to fight, things like that. And then, in the summer, then they had to tell me, like, listen, you got to have another one. It's still not taking. And from there, it was just, it's been a roller coaster because I've had to keep myself mentally like, listen, this is what you have to do. And on the other hand, it's been, hey, you're out of the game. So what do you do? So it's been, like I said, man, just a roller coaster, ups and downs. I feel like I'm in a good place now. I'm happy. My hand's healed up, and only thing I can do is just wait till I fight.
How did you stay positive? How were you able to, see that there would be a light at the end of the tunnel going through this rehabbing process that's been forever?
It's been a mixture of things. I've had friends, I've had family, encouragement. Like I said, my girl, she's encouraged me a lot. She's helped me with a lot of my rehab and just different things, man. Coaches, telling me to be positive, stuff like that. My daughter being home, knowing that I can't, I got to get healthy and get back with, to the drawing board for her and everything. So staying positive it's been a challenge, but there's been people there. There's always been someone there to help me and try to keep staying focused. But like I said, it's always rough when you have an injury. It's and when you've been out a year dealing with an injury, I can't even imagine how long being out even longer would have been. So staying positive. It's been rough, but it's I've had a lot of people encourage me the right way.
Did you spend much time at all at American Top Team inside the gym? Did you go watch practice? Were you able to do any of that stuff, or was it just too aggravating to not participate?
Well, at first that's what it was. At first it was, all right, get the surgery, just stay at the gym, watch the guys, you know what I mean? And I did that for a couple of weeks. I would go in and watch sparring and shit like that. But then my hand healed up. It wasn't all the way healed. Then I got to, they just just forget about it. And I went into practice, which isn't what was hurting my hand. It just still, the bone wasn't taken. So I was still getting to do things I can do without my hand, and so I was still trying to stay a little active. But every time it seemed like I stayed active, it was a setback. My bone wasn't taken, or the first time it happened, when I had got this surgery, my bone shifted. So it was just things that I couldn't avoid that was happening. And so I did try to stay in the gym, but it was kind of hard. It wasn't every day I was motivated to get up and go to the gym and just watch it, and it was really aggravating. Even the fights, even the Bellator fight, it was hard to even watch. These people going out fighting, doing their thing, and you just got to sit there. So
How has Bellator reacted to your situation? Can you tell us about that?
First of all, I applaud Bellator, man. I'm not going to sit up here and just talk shit because it's my company and that's who I fight for and all this. But to tell you the honest 100, Bellator has done nothing but been supportive of me since the moment I broke my hand. I got in a situation. They helped me out. They haven't bugged me about when are you getting back. They haven't, force my hand as a champ. Treated me with the respect of having the belt and allowed me to, get things right. And so Bellator is nothing but a huge part of my recovery, and helping and me getting on the right track.
Did you ever have a thought that possibly after the second or third time it didn't take, I might get stripped of my title?
Well, I wasn't even worried about that. You know what I mean? Like my whole, and that's the thing that I'm talking about. Like I never once was worried about, hey, if there might be an interim title or hey, I might get stripped. I never cared to begin with. To be honest with you, I just wanted everybody to keep fighting, doing whatever they got to do, and when I get back, I'll get back. But in the meantime, Bellator supported me. They hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about being stripped. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Like, just get healthy. So whatever their plans was, as far as like interim belts, that's their plans. But never once did they ever come to me and think like, hey, you might be stripped if you don't, if you don't heal up or anything like that. So no, I've never had that type of pressure on me at all this whole time.
And now with this time that you've been outside of the cage, does it feel different? Have you been able to do other things that you missed out on possibly? Have you been able to take advantage of this year in some ways?
In some ways, yes. That's kind of for me to know and how to find out when I whoop somebody's ass. But I've been taking some time off, and I did use it to my advantage. Not every day was to my advantage, but not the whole time was it to my advantage. But I definitely, didn't sit on my ass and just not think about what my career and what I got to do and when I get back in there. So, I definitely used some of the time to, get some new things in my head, new thoughts, new movements, new ways, and
So where's the handout now? Is there a date in your head sometime that you'd like to return, or is it still at the point where we're seeing how training goes and how the hand responds? Where are we at?
Well, me personally, I was cleared back in, let's say, September, October, I think. So I really wanted to get on that Ireland card. That wasn't possible. Then I was told, I really wanted to get on that big Tito card. And if they still have a spot, Bellator, what's up? Holla at me. If not, I don't know. I just, whenever they give me the word, man, I'll be ready. And that's the only thing. So I just don't know when I'll be fighting right now. I just leave it in their hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't want it to be, much later, because it's been a year. You know what I mean? It's been well over a little bit of a year. So it's like, I got that itch. I really want to get back in there, and I really want to throw some hands. And whether I break it or not, I just really want to hurt somebody. So give me that opportunity. What's going on, bro?
When you got cleared to return to training, was there a hesitation with the hand, and was there a relief when everything went well?
Of course, anytime you have an injury, you're going to have some type of mentality or some type of hesitation at first. But it's been good. I haven't had, second thoughts about my hand. I'm fully confident in my striking. Like, it's part of the sport. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to worry about my hand, then I might as well worry about it every time I throw. If I'm going to do that, I'm never going to win fights again. I won a fight with a broken hand once. If it breaks again, I'll win another fight with a broken hand. So, in my mind, the hesitation is it didn't stay as much as I thought it would. I have a different mentality towards it. So, it was a little iffy once I started punching. It's kind of weird when your hand's stiff for 9 months out of the year, and then next thing you know, you're trying to punch bags slowly, and so it's a little adjustment. But I don't think I have much of a hesitation anymore.
How much better did you become at things with your other hand now after 9 months of being one-handed? I've had a broken hand for a while, and that was only a slight recovery process. I can imagine how great you got with your other hand now, having 9 months of this.
Well, yeah, using my other hand, I just started doing a lot. I had no choice but to do things more. So it just keeps my brain moving, keeps my brain thinking. So I'm not great at everything with my right hand, but I built a lot of strength in my right hand. I built a lot of dexterity and flexibility, and my right hand, right arm, and I don't use it. It's like riding a bike. Once I got my left hand back, it wasn't the same, but I still do work with my right just as much as I did when I wasn't with my left.
Now, we're cleared of the injury. We're talking about the return. We've seen other champions and other promotions get to dictate. Now, if it was up to you, just purely up to you, where would you make your return to the cage at, and who is the number one contender right now that should challenge you?
If it was up to me, I would make a return in Cincinnati because that's where I'm from. I would love to fight back home. I've been dying to fight back in Cincinnati. I mean, Bellator, put the show on Cincinnati, man, for sure. But I want to fight whoever. I think Weishel's been making a good claim for that spot. Pat just had another nice win, and there's some new faces that's in there. That has been racking up some wins, but right now the only person I would be looking at is Weichel. He's had a couple impressive wins, and he's been up there at the top, and I'd like to shake it up with him. I think he deserves that. I'm not one of these guys that sit back and dictate anything. I think whoever I want to fight them all. As far as I'm concerned, so. Whoever they give me next is who I'll fight next, and, that's just how I see it.
And there's a young undefeated prospect, AJ McKee. He's been making a lot of noise. He definitely has his eyes set on the title. He even, made that clear before. Do you have any thoughts on him and what you've seen out of some of these young guys? There's him, there's Gallagher, there's Chinzo Machida, some guys that are early in their MMA career that are starting to make some noise in the division.
No, I mean, it's nothing, I don't really have, all of them, they're great fighters, they're good fighters, they're good at what they do, and they're just going to have to climb like I climb. It's not that they're not unnoticed. I've noticed everybody in my division, and to get to where I'm at, you're going to have to do the same goddamn thing I do, knock every last one of them off. Unfortunately, when you get to me, I'm still in that same mode. I'm trying to knock everybody the fuck off. So, more power and respect to them. I love what all of them doing. I'm loving what all these guys is doing. All these young prospects, they grinding, trying to make a name for themselves, trying to get in that title contention, trying to get that title. And that's what we need. We need all of those guys. They're making some of these other guys look bad. Keep it on, because that just keeps me on my toes, keeps me hungry. I'm not one that wants to be dethroned. I've been dethroned before. And, these young guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, only thing I can say is just keep making a name for yourself. They know what to do. They did this, that's what I did at one point. Didn't nobody know who the fuck I was either. So, hey.
Do you think that your name has been lost over the last year?
Yeah, my name has been lost all throughout MMA until I got in trouble. It's not like my name's always been spoken of. Nobody really, I'm not one of those fighters. Here's the thing. I'm not one of those fighters because I'm not out there like in social media and doing stuff. And, that's not me. I've never wanted to be in front of the cameras. But my name, when it comes up as far as fighting, people pay attention to that. They know when I come to fight, they're going to get a fight. They're going to see a good fight. But outside of my name lingering and, interviews and all, that's not me. It's never been me. So my name has always been lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? So only time my name comes up is when fights, and that's the only time people pay attention. And frankly, for me, if that's the only time you want to pay attention to me, be my guest. Because you know what you're going to see when you hear my name. You're going to see a dog fight. And you're going to get a dog fight. You're going to get a good-ass dog fight. So it doesn't really hurt my feelings, or it doesn't bug me as being a champion and not being talked about, or, once you learn what this job is, you know what I mean, you start realizing what the job is, then your focus change. My focus isn't being famous. My focus is on putting on good fights for these people that want to see good fights.
Man, see, there's a reason why I love Danniel Straus, and it's stuff like that. I mean, a fighter talking about being a fighter, and all these other dudes that are out there talking about movies and how much money they can make. This guy just wants to fight. I respect a ton of everything that you say.
Yeah, we all want to get there. Don't get me wrong. We're all fighting for that same thing. We want the money. We all want the money. But I think what people don't realize is to get that money is to get them eyes. The reason why people, let's say Conor, the reason why Conor can run around and say what the fuck you want to say is because he has those eyes. And that's why he's getting paid. You know what I mean? If you're just going to be an average fighter, you're going to have average eyes on you. So that's what I'm saying. For me, I don't care about being famous or being in the limelight. I just want the eyes. When you hear my name and when you know that I'm on a fight card, you're going to pay attention to that fucking fight card. Flat out. You know what I mean? After that, let me go about my business.
Also talking about in the cage stuff, in 2017, there have already been talked about the unified rules of MMA are changing. Has anybody in your team, have you guys made a point to talk about that, like in the gym, just some of the criteria is changing so that judging may change?
I haven't yet. I haven't really, because I haven't really paid attention. I heard, but I really don't know what that is yet. I don't even know what they're all changing. I hope we can pick this whenever we want. That'd be awesome. But yeah. No, I haven't actually went over the criteria yet.
All right, so we'll have to touch on that with you another day. Another thing that's just been, big MMA kind of news is an old boss of yours, Bjorn Rebney, and MMA fighter unions and a new hot topic coming up. Do you have any 2 cents either way on if that would be good for the entire sport, if it's needed in, say, Bellator, or if it could just be, another fee that you would have to pay for no help?
You know what? I think, honestly, if we want to be seen as a major sport, and if we want to be treated as major sport athletes, then yes. You know what I mean? It's not a secret. You know what I mean? But on the same hand, like, how many people is wanting to step out there and bite the hand that feeds them, especially if you're already making pennies at pennies right now? So I think it's cool. I think I support what they're doing. I haven't actually read everything into what they're doing, to be honest. I didn't go into the article or anything. Excuse the background noise, but yeah, I didn't go into it. But yeah, everyone knows that if you're going to be in a major business, there's nothing wrong with having a union. You need somebody that's going to speak up for these fighters. You definitely need somebody, because if no one's going to speak up for us, who is? If you're getting top shelf and we're getting bottom shelf and you're getting top shelf off of us, then who's to say that someone shouldn't speak up for us? But it's just like any business. We want the bosses to treat us fair, just like the bosses want us to do our job.
Bellator Featherweight champion Danniel Straus, who we're looking to see him return to the Bellator cage in 2017. Sir, I got to thank you for letting me, pick your brain as always. Anybody you need to thank or shout out to?
Yeah, man, I want to thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. All my friends, family, and fans. I thank everybody that's been supporting me. And yeah, man, look out for me. I'll be in 2017 here shortly. I should be back in the soon, knocking somebody's head off.
And on that note, there'll be more DC Life Uncensored after a quick break.
The Fight Shop New Mexico in the Montano Plaza Shopping Center, located off Coors and Montano.
ISP, that's International Strategic Partners. When you think protection in New Mexico, you should think ISP, not your everyday security company, offering background checks, self-defense courses, handgun, firearm licensing, and a plethora of security patrol and investigation options. Call us at 505-255-6063. That's 505-255-6063 or online at callisp.com.
We're a dental laboratory that specializes in protective mouth guards for all sports. With the input and collaboration of professional athletes, dentists, and chemical engineers, Damage Control offers protection that is up to 417% greater than the competition. And a great fit that will make you forget you're even wearing a mouth guard. UFC champions, professional bull riding champions, and Mr. Olympian champions. These are athletes that depend on us for the ultimate protection. It's the most comfortable, most protective, and best fitting mouth guard. Breathe better, feel better, play better with the Damage Control mouth guard.
Welcome back to the DC Life Uncensored, and right now we're going to head on over to the Call ISP, our International Strategic Partners hotline, to talk with JacksonWink fighter Henry Barahona, who's preparing for Sparta Combat Leauge 57, January 28th in Denver, Colorado, where he will be against Justin Gonzalez. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Holiday season's coming around. What does that do for you as you're 5 weeks out from a fight?
The only difference is I can't take out. I need a bunch of tamales and noodles for Christmas. That's pretty much it.
So now, is that something that you put on the list of things you want after the fight?
Most likely. The hardest part is actually going to be not the holidays, is my birthday. His birthday's 17 days before it, so no cake for me.
So now we have the list. We got the tamales, the menudo, and the cake, so a big list of food that is what's going to be the after party?
Most likely.
Most likely. And now you're heading to Sparta. You're taking on a guy that I believe, between his pro and amateur career, at least 7 times has fought in their cage. So he's one of their guys. He's listed as a champion on their website. What do you think about this fight, this matchup, that kind of circumstances that you're taking on their guy?
I know he's never lost a fight. He's 8-0 as an amateur, 2-0 as a pro. He's definitely developed compared when he first started. So first he was just a wrestler, grinder, but now he thinks he's a striker. He hits hard. He got some decent strikes, and he always got that takedown. So he's definitely the most complete MMA fighter that I've faced so far. And I think I'm ready for this test. I've been improving a lot. I've learned a lot from my last 3 fights all this year, and I'm just preparing, doing a lot of game plan, trying to get my body peak shape like that. I don't gas out in my last fight. I think he's gonna feel my striking. He's not gonna want to stand with me. He's gonna try to take it down, and I feel like I could avoid his takedown. And even if he somehow manages to take me down, I think I could submit him.
And then talking about where you've been evolving. Talking about where you've been evolving. Your first pro win.
Evolving?
You've got the nice head kick that you landed. How did that feel, first off? How did that one feel? Landing that head kick, getting that win. Getting that first one out of the way here at home.
That was amazing. That was over a year not fighting. I lost my first pro fight. I did a lot of things wrong in that fight. I fixed it in that training camp for the fight against Casey, and there was so much nerves. After that head kick, I didn't even think about the head kick or how fast it was. All I was thinking was like, I won. It's like, this is why I do it. Like, for moments like this is why I love the sport. It's like, just so much emotions going through. It's amazing.
Can you even explain what that moment was like, hearing that you're the winner, getting your hand raised for that first time? Can you explain what that was like?
The best way I could say is like time froze for me.
Was there a difference with that first pro win than what you had experienced from your amateur victories?
Yes, definitely. My amateur victories, I definitely did not work as hard. I definitely didn't diet. It wasn't as serious as an amateur, and the wins as a pro it's a lot more meaningful. There's all the work pays off, and it's as a pro, it's do or die. The fights make or break you. It's not on your record now. You get paid for it. That's what gets you recognized. Amateur, once you go pro, no one cares anymore.
And then you followed that up with, I believe, a unanimous decision win against Jerry Sano back at the beginning of October. You said you gassed in that fight. Tell us more about that fight. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it out there.
Yeah, so that fight took it on like a 2.5 week notice. It was at 155, went up a weight class. I know he had a full training camp from what I was told. I didn't. I was actually surprised my coaches allowed me to fight, but I had been lifting. I got bigger, so they allowed me to take it. I didn't get my cardio the way I wanted to for such a short notice. So the fight was probably like after the first minute I was tired. My arms were heavy. I was breathing hard. But that wasn't what I was more afraid of. Wasn't about his power. Wasn't about his wrestling. It wasn't anything to do with his skill. I had heard how much of a mean guy he is, weigh-ins and stare down before. That's what I thought was going to intimidate me. But instead, I felt like I got him. We had a pretty intense stare down that's why they bumped us up into co-main event. And then right when we were supposed to touch gloves, he doesn't want to touch gloves, and everyone goes, ooh. So I am actually pretty proud of how I kept my composure throughout that whole situation. So I feel like I evolved a lot more mentally, not just physically.
And what do you think about... And what are your thoughts on being dog-tired and then going another 14 minutes proving that to yourself? What does that do for you?
What does it do for me? Oh, it definitely built up my confidence because I gave it all I had after that, and I knew, like that first pro fight that I lost, I knew I didn't give him my all, and I could have done more. So giving him my all, knowing I did my best, giving all I had to give, and pushing myself to the limit, and knowing that I won, it felt amazing. I was in the back. I was dog tired, but I was so happy, so excited. I know it was a sloppy fight for me, but I was just happy with the outcome and with my effort.
Are you able to look back to the fight in May, the pro debut, that loss, and be able to say it really was a learning experience for the better?
Yes, definitely. I was so nervous for that fight. I don't know why I was so nervous. I only guess it's because the long layoff. But I definitely learned how to. The biggest thing, I overtrained. I did not rest. I didn't have fun. I didn't enjoy it. That was definitely the biggest thing I learned from that fight.
And I bumped into you now several times in the gym, in between practices, as you're getting ready for strength and conditioning, and you really do seem to be enjoying this camp.
Yes, I am. There's so many wonderful people in my life that are helping me out. I got, of course, Nick, go, of course, El Fuego. I got Donald. I got Clint Roberts. I have all these amazing people just helping me out, just reminding me what I do this for, and that's for the pure love of the sport.
So now from that last fight, we're talking about evolving. Where do you take that game now? I bring it up earlier, accidentally, my words, but evolving now, where do you take your game to keep continuing success?
Right now, my biggest thing is to learn to put everything together. I don't want people to think I'm just a grinder or just a striker or just a grappler. I want them to think of me as a complete mixed martial artist, and that's right now the biggest thing for me. I want to be at the top level, and I got to keep improving. I can't be satisfied with the level I'm at right now. Tomorrow, I want to be better than I am today. By a month from now, I want to be 100 times better than I am today. So no matter what, I want to improve. I want to get better so I can eventually, once I get to that top level, I could stand toe-to-toe with the best of the best.
January 28th in Denver, Colorado. What do you have to do? What do you have to get done to get your hand raised?
Excuse me?
What do you have to do January 28th to get your hand raised?
What do I got to do? I got to go out there, have fun, and look for those openings and hopefully knock them.
Okay, I lost you there at the last second. I think you said hopefully knock this guy out.
Hopefully, well, everyone always wants that knockout, but you can't always expect knockout. However I get the finish is however I want it. I want finish. I don't want decisions. I want to be known as a finisher. I want to be known for knockouts. So.
And you think about...
yeah.
Yeah, you think about that. That's a goal of yours. That's what you want to be known. You have that thought.
Yes, I want to be known as a guy who can knock you out with punches, kicks, knees, knock you out with a body shot, knock you out from ground and pound, anywhere. I want to be known as a finisher. With going up
to Denver, with where the fight is, what are your thoughts on playing that villain? You're coming in, again, it's his promotion. You're the out-of-town guy. Do you have any thoughts on that scenario, those circumstances?
I know they want him to win. They're expecting me to be the underdog. They're expecting me to be a chump. And I'm okay with them expecting that. No matter who I fight, I'm looking to win. Doesn't matter if he's tough. Doesn't matter if he's some chump. Doesn't matter who it is. I'm looking for a win. I know they're trying to just build up their fighter like they have been this whole time. They've been building him up since the very beginning. And I guess they're probably thinking I'm going to be another stepping stone for this guy. But that night, I'm not just going to prove them wrong, but I'm going to prove myself that I'm not a guy to be used like that.
Looking to make your own mark. Where you train with a bunch of talented guys, like a bunch of guys you've been around for so long also. What's it like having all that experience and knowledge to help you young in your career?
It feels amazing. I've barely going into 5 years into training. I got all these guys who's veterans of the sport still teaching me. I got Nick Gonzalez, I got John Dotson, still learning every single day from them. Guys who still beat me up, and it's just an honor to learn from all these guys, legends of the sport, and hope to continue training with them and learn from them throughout the years.
With it being the holiday season, outside of a win, what else would you want for a gift?
What else would I want for a gift? No, I never actually thought of it. I'm actually pretty happy with what I've got in life right now. Life is amazing. Doing what I love, got amazing people around me. So as of right now, I'm good with everything I got. That win is just going to make everything better.
Henry Boom Boom Barahona, I got to thank you for the time, sir. who did you need to shout out to and thank?
First of all, I want to give thanks to all my training partners, my family, putting up with me with all the weight cut and all my attitude, and of course I want to thank mainly Nick Gonzalez, Clint Roberts, Donald Sanchez, John Dodson, and of course Daniel Nieto. Guys are always helping me out, and thank Lord and Savior for everything He's given me in life.
And for viewing details on Sparta Combat League 57, go to their website, SpartaCombatLeague.com, and you can find a pay-per-view stream to be able to watch Henry in action live January 28th. Thank you for the time again, sir. And now we're going to transition over to the CagedMinds.com local scene, brought to you by Damage Control Mouthguards. The holiday season just ended. There's that one person you forgot a gift for. You get on over to the Fight Shop New Mexico. You buy a Damage Control mouthguard. It's the perfect gift for the athlete in your life. And one more reminder, next week, CagedMinds.com 2016 awards. That's what we're going to be talking about in the show. 30 plus awards to talk about. A lot of combat sports awards and stuff from the year to recap and to recognize. Now, as we're moving into 2017, we got to look at the fights that are going to be coming up. And we're going to start off with January 7th, as Nico Montano of Fit NHB is going to be looking for her second world title when she collides with Julia Avila in Oklahoma, the HD MMA 7 event, a bantamweight title on the line. Now, January 14th, Hector Munoz, one of the most active boxers that we have here in the state. He's going to be in action up in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center against Thomas Delorme. Now we go back to talking about MMA as January 27th on Access TV, CES 41. Jordan Espinosa faces Dennis Piva. And then Jordan's teammate Kevin Kroom, both of Latrell Yee MMA, challenges Matt Bissett for the CES Featherweight title. That is January 27th again, Access TV. On January 28th, we just talked to him. Henry Barahona takes on Justin Gonzalez at Sparta Combat League 57. February 4th, Nick Urso and Andrew Tennyson are in action at Rocky Mountain Rubicon 4. Co-main event, we'll see Nick Urso in action. Main event, Andrew Tennyson. More information on those fights, go to CagedMinds.com, where we have articles for both of those. We also have, coming up, already announced for the new year, GKO 9, Global Knockouts 9, March 18th, with undefeated Tyler Diamond taking on Latrell Yee. MMA's Steven Cervantes, the main event. Joseph Morales will be challenged by Latrell Yee's Jordan Espinosa with the GKO flyweight title on the line. Now, as you get to the local scene, actually what's taking place in the state, we have February 17th, School of Hard Knocks has announced a boxing event, and February 18th, Warriors Theory Cage Fighting, an all-amateur event in Socorro, New Mexico, where Ray Viza will be in the main event, and Seth Abeda has been coined for the co-main event. Holmes Boxing is looking to have an event not yet confirmed, but in the works for late January. And Legacy Boxing Promotions has been talking about late February, early March for their next event, and expected to have that one happen here locally in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You still look for it to hear what news will come from King of the Cage and the Jackson's MMA series as we move into 2017. It's been a busy year. One more time, again, Henry Barahona, Danniel Straus, I thank you guys so much with the holidays going on to be able to take some time to be able to check in with us. We know the holidays are crazy. I appreciate that time so much, guys. This has been the DC Life Uncensored, one more time, presented by International Strategic Partners. Get a hold of them at callisp.com for all your security and investigations needs. The Fight Shop New Mexico, check them out. The 4 north end of the shopping center at the northeast corner of the Coors and Montano intersection. And again, by the best mouth guard you could ever purchase. Damage control mouth guards. This has been the DC Life Uncensored. Again, check out CagedMinds.com, and everybody have a happy new year.